Hello, people of the tube, and welcome back to another Down and Derpy podcast. As usual, I'm Chris.
I'm William Drill Dill.
And I'm Tyree Zach.
So, today's episode is on suicide, and I have a small intro to get out of the way before we do continue. I would like to read this. For some people, the saddest part of losing someone to suicide is that you will never truly know why. Before the rope snaps or the gun fires, before the rattle of the pill bottle or the opening of a vein, there is nothing. Sometimes we chalk it up to bullying, stress, drug use, or sexual abuse. But why? What drives someone to the point of taking the only thing that you can only ever get one of, their life? Today's podcast does come with a warning. You might hear you might hear personal stories from people that you never thought you would hear, tales of death, deep personal revelations, there might even be a tear or two. So if a topic like suicide doesn't sit well with you, then please turn it off now. I have also placed a link to the suicide hotline in the description box below, and if you ever feel like you need it, it will always be there. And there you go. So, um, well, let's begin, I guess.
All
All
right.
right, we'll start with you, Todd.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to show you guys this. I made this map. This is countries by suicide rate, and as you can see, the blue is basically above world average, and the red is below world average. And technically, the country with the highest suicide rate is Greenland. And what's sad about that is that Greenland is one of the least populated nations, like in the world. And also, I think I've heard like at least one suicide occurs there a week, and I think 25% of the population has at least attempted suicide at least once in their life. And followed by Guyana, Sri Lanka, I believe South Korea is in there, and I believe the continents that have the highest is Africa and Europe. So, yeah, so that's yeah, that's what I'll. But yeah, that's what we'll bring up about the map, I suppose.
All right. Well, do you care to share anything?
Yes. So I don't consider myself suicidal, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I haven't been depressed several times in my life, I guess you could say. Like, I think I've never ever thought of hurting myself or going into anything even near the attempts of suicide. But I guess, I mean, I wouldn't say, for one, I would kind of say there are definitely a lot of people I don't really care too much about. I think I usually get along better with adults than I do children. I mean, not children, but like students, like when I was in school. Because when growing up, I didn't really have many friends. Like I wasn't a very social person. Not a lot of people talked to me or went over to go kind of sit with me or start conversations with me. And I remember one time I was actually in tears one time, and I was in class and no one even really bothered to see if I was okay or anything like that. It's happened more than once. I mean, I was kind of, I think I was in high school at that point, but um, yeah, but a lot of the depression that kind of went through my life was mainly through just the fact that I kind of wish I had more friends. But it's just kind of me though. And I guess kind of my parents have divorced, and I guess that kind of that was a pretty depressive part of my life as well. But yeah, it's kind of let me think. Yeah, and the thing is, I would ever made friends with a lot of the students. I think the reason why is because I usually would listen to music and stuff like that. It's probably why people wouldn't talk to me. So I guess it's kind of my own fault. But I did get along with the teachers a lot more than I did students, because the majority of the time the teachers really, really liked me. I think there's only one teacher that actually didn't like me that I had. The majority of the teachers really liked me, but unfortunately, the students, it's not really the same. Unfortunately, a lot of people didn't really see me. A lot of people kind of didn't really see me as someone who would really succeed or really have much to do. I guess I've been picked on a few times. A lot of people would kind of see me as some kind of weak, scrawny person, but I don't know. That's just kind of how, I don't know. I guess it's kind of, I guess everyone's kind of been through that kind of stuff in their life, but I don't know, I suppose. But yeah, I guess that's kind of what I'll bring up, I suppose. But
All right, well,
Uh, I don't necessarily have anything personally to say, like factual about like depression or suicide. I just have my fair share of stories, and as well as a personal story of someone who I lost that meant a lot to me. And but I'd rather not go start off with that immediately. So I'll just take it. You can take over for now, Chris.
Since we're starting with uh then I guess it's my personal. I had 4 left.
You're lagging a bit.
Yeah. You're,
So
the Chloe curse has cursed you. Yeah, I don't want to bring a lot of humor into this podcast, though. It's a serious topic, so I won't bring that. Okay.
Chris, you're completely frozen now.
what?
Yeah.
Nothing. You were just your thing was lagging out and glitching, but
Yeah.
you're back. I can hear you now. It's
Okay, well that was some bullshit. Uh anyway, yeah, 2 suicidal attempts. Didn't go far in either of them. The first one, I had a knife to my throat. Um, and I started right here, and it didn't go far because I realized that would have probably been one of the most painful things I've ever felt in my life. And thought process kicked in right there. And then the second time, I was going to eat an entire bottle of Tylenol at once, and I got about 10 pills in, and then unfortunately, my brain always usually snaps me out of it. So, once again, the little voice was saying, "Don't do it, you fucking retard," and it stopped me again. Yeah. So there. So yeah, personal. There you go. Now let's if we move on to stories. Uh, let's see. I've had a great uncle who shot himself in the brain with a pistol. I had another uncle who killed himself because he was gay, and that was back during a time when my family. Well, I mean, my family's still fucking like racist and bigoted and all that shit, but that was back in the time like when it was really bad and no one would take him in, so he killed himself. Um, and then one of our cousins killed herself, and then my grandfather ended up killing himself. And then I think that was it. And then me and William actually share a personal connection with a death, but we're gonna move over to Ty before we talk about that.
so bring up like a story, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, honestly, with you, I don't think I've really had I don't think I've had like any family members who really attempted suicide in their life, but I do have a
Nope, everything's lagging.
Yeah.
there's a but oh, my thing's lagging.
Yeah, it's lagging.
Is my computer lagging?
Yeah,
All right.
I don't know.
Oh crap.
It's like your whole thing was lagging there for a moment.
Well, basically, what I was saying is I never really had any people I know, I mean, family members who had committed suicide in their life. I mean, I think I have had some friends who were depressive though. Like, well, yeah, I'll bring that up instead. Okay, so there is a friend I know named Nikki, and she is I think she has bipolar disorder, and I don't know if I really want to bring up a whole lot about her life though. She's still alive to this day. I haven't seen her in a while, but she was a girl I knew in high school. But that's kind of all I bring up. I don't know, but anyways, I think I might bring up my uncle instead. So my uncle, he's my mom's brother, and we never see him because he's an alcoholic and he used to be really into drugs. And he's currently living alone. I think he lives with like this old lady at the moment, and I think he's been homeless for a while. He's been in jail several times, and I think it's kind of hurt my family a lot that he is the way he is, I suppose. And his son isn't really in a very good shape either. His son currently lives with his mother they're separated as well, and she relies on food stamps and stuff like that, and she does drugs as well. It's not looking good for that side of the family, but the city I grew up in, Davenport, it's not really one of the. I mean, Iowa is kind of known for being really safe and prosperous compared to other states, but Davenport, unfortunately, is not. Davenport's like a really bad city, just as far as poverty goes. But so I don't know. So I suppose you can say I'm glad to be out of there, but that's kind of all I can really think of, though. 'Cause I never really had any family members who dealt with suicide, at least as far as I know, I suppose. Hold on.
All right, William. Well, you yeah, you knew we were gonna have to talk about this.
Right.
Wait, what?
All right,
Yeah.
William, you begin.
Yeah, well, as I stated earlier, I have personal experiences myself with depression and suicide, and along with that, a story with a beloved family member and friend that has committed suicide. Uh, and I guess just to start on like the family member, uh, there was. I won't give out any names or anything like that to just kind of like out of respect for obviously the departed and all that. But uh, basically, this person was my first cousin, and we've basically been pretty much together. I don't pretty much our entire life since we were just kids. And basically grew up together and all that sort of stuff. So we basically became like brother and sister in a sense. And eventually down the road, it just things kind of faded out and just kind of separated from one another. She went down sort of this slow, dark road, and in terms of anything, like if I knew anything about it, sure, but at the same time, I didn't exactly, have any clue like how to deal with her or whatever. I didn't know how to talk to her about it, and just eventually, just one day, it's like she disappeared. Nobody knew where she went off to or whatever, and it was like the night. The night that she committed suicide, I was over at mine and Chris's friend TDC's place. I was sleeping over there, and during the morning, I got a notification on my phone and it was on Facebook, that people were, saying rest in peace, this person, and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, this has to be a joke, right? And then it just kept happening and happening, and you know, I I even messaged her mom at the time, and it's like, uh, is this a joke? She didn't actually do it, did she? And from as soon as I got a response, I completely broke down in tears. I started crying, and it was an upsetting time, for not only just me but for my entire family, because she was well loved. And everybody liked her a lot, and it is unknown and it's not clear why she did it, but at the same time we'll never know. It's still a mystery to this day of why it had to be. So I just don't know.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah, thanks. And yeah, it's really hard to talk about that, but
we both attended her funeral together because at the time we weren't talking to each other. There had been a whole year where me and him had a fucking argument and decided never to speak to each other ever again. Like, that was a straight up fact. I basically called him a fuckface and said I would never talk to him again. He could fucking just go away. And the morning she died, or when the morning I learned that she died, I his cousin I had messaged her and I asked her, "Hey, is that so and so?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I went, "Oh God, that is not good." And right after that, I put up a YouTube video on it, and then I got a hold of him, and I told him I'd do anything to help them with their situation, and we attended her funeral together. So it was it sucked. Like, I don't even know how to explain how much that it actually sucked. I'll say this. I'm not someone who gets emotional at many things. And I said this a while back. I said, what's funny is I didn't cry at her funeral. I didn't cry months after it. But then it hit me, because what you don't realize is that the person that you knew is now gone forever. So months later, I had gallons upon gallons of alcohol And I basically that night drunk myself into one of the worst stupors I've ever had in my life. And that's when it actually hit me that she was gone forever. And that was the night that I cried. And cried. And cried. And that was one of the worst nights of my life. So, and I always remember that night. Because I spent that night absolutely alone in my own pity and self-destruction. And nothing can bring a man down faster than knowing that something he was so close to is now gone for the rest of eternity. So,
I'm sorry about that. My Wi-Fi was going all weird, disconnecting.
Oh, and apparently Chloe's link is not working.
I sent
her one. I don't know if she got didn't get a response back, but I saw that and I sent her one.
Okay. I sent her one.
I have to go. So yeah, Chloe, you can tell us if my link didn't work either. So.
I'm sorry for being quiet, guys. This is hitting pretty heavy with me.
Well, Don, it's your turn anyway, so go ahead.
Well, I don't really have any experience with suicide, so to speak, although I did have a very good friend once who was self-harming pretty bad, and I asked I don't know anything about them anymore. They're gone now, but not dead, but I don't know where they're at now. And I would always say to them, I know what's going on here, man, and you can talk to me, but they didn't want to talk. And I think one thing I would have to say to everyone watching at home right now is that, there's always someone you can talk to. There's always somewhere to turn. Hell, you can comment on my video. I don't even care. I'll stay up all night talking to someone if it means I'll save their life. And I know I have a dark past, but I always try to treat people with respect. I always try to treat people the same. I would never want anyone to be in a place where they feel like the only way out is suicide. That's a long-term, a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Damn, I'm sorry, guys. I thought we were talking about TV shows tonight. Caught me a little off guard here.
We switched it last week.
I mean, your stories have all been very touching. I'm sorry y'all had to go through that.
Yeah, I might bring up something real quick. Chloe said that she's using Firefox. That's the problem with it. Chloe, you gotta apparently the Hangouts only works with Chrome, so you gotta switch to Chrome to open up the link.
Yeah, it's very lucky that it works on Firefox or any other browser. So.
Yeah. As far as let me think. Ty mentioned earlier. You said your parents had gotten divorced, right?
Yeah.
So did mine. At the age of 4. And by the age of 4, I'd already watched kittens get gunned down by a shotgun. My dog get shot in front of me. Parents split. I'd already suffered. I had a fucking giant ass fucking splinter in my eye. That sucked dick. That was just bad. And then, yeah. So no.
How did that come by?
You know what's funny is I wish I could tell you, but honestly, I don't remember because I was 4.
Well, that makes sense.
Hey, Chris, I hope you don't mind me asking, but how exactly did the person who shot your dog? Was it because the dog had to be put down, or what exactly was it?
Nope, it was my father.
Hmm.
And he dragged them out in the front yard, along with the kittens that had just been born a few weeks ago. Had his double barrel shotgun, pointed them straight at him, and fired. I don't know if you've ever seen an animal being shot with a double barrel shotgun before.
Yeah, you should be put in prison for that.
It's not something.
I shot with a shotgun once.
You shot what?
A deer.
Yeah, a kitten and a deer are 2 totally different things. Don?
Actually, I might actually bring one thing up that's actually kind of similar to that. Is actually my uncle. My uncle, he got kittens adopted from my grandpa, like my mom's dad, and because my dad has like a farm and he has cats there, and well, 2 of the kittens died. One he stepped on by accident, and the other he was drunk and angry and he threw it against the wall and it died. And the third one we currently have.
Oh, you watched him do it?
No, we didn't watch him do it. We just found that out. And he's
Yeah.
not allowed to have any more pets because of that.
Yeah, I watched them explode under the weight of a double barrel shotgun. It's not something you forget. Not to mention, seeing my uncle's brain on the wall when we walked in and found his corpse. That was something. Let me tell you something. A dead body is not something that you'll forget. It's brutal. And yeah. Yeah, so
Ty's thing crashed again, apparently. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, my like Wi-Fi keeps like fucking up. I don't know what's going on.
right now we're waiting for Chloe because she definitely has a story to tell if she's willing. So
Yeah.
that's what we're waiting on. I think we've already covered everything that we want to cover, at least.
Yeah.
So
Yesterday it was 23 years since Kurt Cobain committed suicide.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear a word you just said.
Who said
23 years since Kurt Cobain killed himself.
Oh, Cobain.
Yeah.
Actually, I was like, what?
Yeah, it's sad. He didn't really. Fame probably went to his head. He really didn't want to be famous in the first place. Kind of. Music industry kind of brought him to it. No.
Why is it?
Hmm?
Why is it though that the people who commit suicide or want to commit usually look up to men like Kurt Cobain? Does anyone wonder that? Because that's something that's been in my brain for a bit.
Actually, one thing
I guess it's because people they see them and they understand what they're going through, kind of thing.
Yeah, I can kind of see that because, if it's someone who happened to deal with depression in their life, I guess it's someone they can relate to. They may look up to them for that. So, say I don't know, usually when I'm sad or depressed, I usually listen to music that's depressing, or about suicide, or But that's why. So like the albums in the background I have at the moment are all a bunch of albums that have to do with depression or suicide. Which the one in the middle and then the one at the bottom, like the black one with like that painting on it. That one. Those two albums are both about suicide. The other ones are just kind of depressive albums. But yeah. So another thing I might bring up is actually suicide is supposedly more common in males than it is females. You guys know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That word.
And I might try to bring you. I might try to read you this the list. I'm only going to read the top 10, but the countries with the highest suicide rate. Not counting Iceland though, because Iceland's a territory. But luckily, actually, Japan is actually not in the top 10 anymore, which they used to be. They used to be pretty high on the list. Now they're number 28. So it's a good thing their suicide rate went down, I suppose. But number 1, Sri Lanka. Number 2, Guyana. 3, Mongolia. 4, Kazakhstan. 5, Cote d'Ivoire. 6, Suriname. 7, Equatorial Guinea. 8, Lithuania. 9, Angola. 10, South Korea.
I mean, I wouldn't want to live in any of those countries either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Equatorial Guinea, I might try to bring up the thing that's pretty sad about that country is one thing that's sad about that country. Equatorial Guinea technically has the highest GDP per capita in Africa, and they're considered to be one of the only African countries of a high income because they're oil rich, basically. But they are extremely corrupt, and they have one of the worst human rights in the world. And basically the supreme leader is basically a dictator, and he saves nearly all the money just either for himself or just a little bit of the population. So the majority of the population is not actually benefited from the oil riches. So there's a lot of people there that are really rich, and there's a lot of people there that are really poor. So it's a very corrupt nation. They have horrible human rights, and I can kind of see why they would be as high on the list as they are.
I think all those countries are going to benefit from Logan Paul making a lot of for suicide.
All right. Well, Chloe is with us now, so. All right, Chloe, you want to share your story?
Well, as far as suicide goes, I think one of the things that, as in my life, that has really hit home was that I was in the hospital with some kidney problems, and when I got discharged to go home, I got a phone call from I'm adopted, and my siblings were not adopted with me, and my brother lived somewhere else. He's about 8 years older than me, and his foster mother never got adopted. Her name is Blackhawk. Blackhawk called me and told me that my brother had posted some crazy shit on Facebook about being like a homo and watching porn and all this other stuff, and said he was going to go off in the woods and kill himself. And so I had just got home from the hospital, still had my hospital bands on, and I lived in Blackhawk's son's rental property at the time. So it was a real conflict of interest as far as my housing to just go and take care of myself. So I left all my groceries on the back porch and I went out to look for my brother, and nobody was really out there looking for him. I finally found him. He had taken a whole bunch of sleeping pills, NyQuil, I think it was, or anyway, whatever it was, and he had been passed out behind staples. He had punched out the hole inside of his car, and when I picked him up, I wasn't aware that he had actually taken anything. I thought he was drunk, so I picked him up, and I'm like, "Let's go drive around. Let's smoke some weed. Like, just tell me what's going on, Jeff. This isn't cool. Something's like, something's up." People are saying he's posting crazy shit on Facebook, and so he wanted to go up to his friend's house, which is way out in the sticks, like no cell service, no nothing. And as we're driving up there, he's like, I know that I've never been there for you. I know I let bad things happen to you when we were, living in our biological home. And I'm a horrible brother and I'm so sorry. And then we got up to his friend's house and all of a sudden he started acting so very weird. It was alarming. He was like slurring his speech, hugging me, telling me that he was going to be leaving the world in like 10 minutes and he could see, everything was coming to an end. And he had told me he took all these pills and he had obviously been drinking. So all of a sudden he passes out in the middle of talking to me. And I think, oh my God, my brother. So I asked the people who we were at's house, Jason and his wife, to call 911. They would not call 911. They did not know what their cordless phone was. There was no cell service up there. So I eventually barged into their house, ransacked their house looking for their cordless phone. I got the ambulance to come get my brother. He had overdosed. He was in and out of consciousness. I was headed down to the hospital to get to be there with him. God, I didn't want him to die alone. I wanted to be there for him. And so I was halfway to the hospital and I got a call from the state police to return back to Jason's house to get the car keys to my brother's car to bring it to the hospital because it would get towed where it were. So I ended up, a state cop gave me the keys. I went back down to get the car. And as I'm driving to the police, to the hospital, I get a phone call from the paramedics, and I don't even know how they called me, but somehow they had my number. I'm assuming my brother may have given it to him or something, or the state police may have had it. I don't remember, but they wanted me to stop and pull over and find out how many pills or what else he could have taken. And when I pulled over, I was driving his car, and when I pulled over, I was on the reaching over to the passenger floor to find out what was this Unisom. That's what he took. He took Unisom. And so I'm on the phone patched in with the paramedics to the emergency room doctor. So they're pumping his stomach and doing, what they need to do. And as soon as I sit back up to put the car into drive, I'm surrounded at gunpoint by 4 officers who are accusing me of stealing this car. So my brother's overdosing in the hospital, he had tried to commit suicide. And so far as I know, he's been successful and he isn't going to make it. I then get arrested for driving the car because it's come to find out it was his wife's car and she didn't give me permission to drive the car. She and him had a fight because she had been cheating. And so when she saw me driving the car through a stoplight, she called the car and stolen. I had to go get arrested and go to court the next day. Nobody was there for my brother. He ended up being okay. They detoxed him. They called him a liar. They said that he had lied about everything to us about his, he had taken 10 Unisom and drank a bunch of alcohol, whereas he had told us he had taken over 100. And when he left the hospital, he came home to us. And the next morning I went to court. He did not come with me to support me. He stayed home with my fiance. Then after court, he wanted to go to Blackhawk's house. So I drove him to Blackhawk's house and we're sitting at the table in her living room or her dining room. And all of a sudden there's my brother sitting next to me. And I'm so glad that he's alive that I was able to put my own health aside and go out and find him. And I was the only person who found him. I was the only person who called for help and was willing to try to help him. And what happened at that table was Blackhawk looked at me and said, he could have killed himself. You could have found him in the woods, and basically blamed me for his suicide attempt and blamed me for not having done the right thing, meaning I drove him to Jason's house instead of when I found him driving him to the hospital. And my brother just sat there and totally let her throw me under the bus. It was a horrible situation. I've never been blamed for somebody's suicide attempt before. But with all that being said, I kind of think there must be something that runs in our family as far as having suicidal, intrusive thoughts, because I've had such a very, very difficult life. I can't even get into how difficult of a life that I have had. And so I'm not going to lie to you guys and say that I have not been plagued with the thoughts of how much better the world would be if I myself were not here, and how much of a burden I am to people, and how I can't give anything back to anybody who gives anything to me, and how much loss that I have had that I will never get back. And then how do you live a life that you can't live with? You know, like medically, I'm a mess. I have a hard time living with that. It's hard to wake up each day when you just don't feel like everybody else. And it's hard to wake up each day when your daughter abuses you and manipulates you. And for 5 years, you have had nothing but bad things from her. It makes you lose your entire will to live, because if you don't have friends and you don't have family and you don't have any kind of support system, and you find yourself alone in the world that is actually what we live in, I can understand why so many people can get to the point of actually saying maybe this isn't, you know, maybe life isn't for everyone. And I don't know, but I can tell you, I feel myself like I have lived a very long, painful, traumatic, sad life. And I would really like to not have 40 more years of this. So when I say that this subject hits home, I have not been in a good place lately. And life is tough. So that's all I gotta say, I guess.
You always have people that care about you, and we do, Chloe. So don't
Thank
worry.
you for sharing that.
Oh, by the way, I might bring this up. What's that crunching sound that's in the background? Because that's like really. But you know what that's going on? I thought that was like me eating my chips, and I'm not sure
Oh,
what that is in the
oh,
background.
Ty, no. Most of the noise was your chips, and
Oh,
you were
really?
making me wince
They
because I'm
were
like,
loud.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
extremely loud, and I was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna interrupt her, but seriously, try not to do that again.
My
When
Okay.
dogs were yelling.
Well, I mean, like I was done eating my chips, and I still heard the noise. I didn't know what was going on.
it's on whatever it is, it's on your end, dude. And trust me, it was loud as fuck.
I sure as hell didn't have any chips in hand.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. That's my bad. But yeah, Chloe, we're here for you though. Like,
And I
there's a lot of
thank you
people that
guys.
care for you. We do. All right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And I'll tell you, the internet's been a real mean place to me, especially this past 2 weeks. People are just so mean and hateful that it's nice to have you guys. You guys mean a lot to me, and I have a lot of respect for all of you.
Yeah. No, you don't need to listen to those people who
The
are mean.
internet's full of fucking assholes.
It's kind of
Yeah.
hard not to sometimes, because they seem to get you when you're not in a good place.
The twat monkeys that revolve in the internet are a bunch of cockwallets. But you see that the thing is in the end they're not fucking worth it. I got some comments earlier today that called me a fat white trash motherfucking fucker. And I don't know if you've been called fucker before, but like that was a whole new level of retardation. And it was so over the top that my ass laughed out loud. But even in the end, people like that are more of a majority than they are a minority. And trust me, I completely understand where you're coming from with the internet and the shitty fucking trolls. I've been doing this since 2011. Is that how long we've been on YouTube, Will?
Yeah, I believe so. 2011.
Yeah, we've been on here since 2011, and we've had our amount of shit burglars and ass meisters, and in the end, they don't fucking matter because you do shit like this to meet people, to have fun, to meet new friends, and as a hobby. And that is what I've told myself. That is what I've told myself every time fuck faces like that come up. I say, you know what? They're a bunch of cunt monkeys. But in the end, I'm doing this to have fun. I'm doing this to meet new people, and it doesn't matter whatever the fuck they're saying because I know that in the end they mean less to me than a pile of dog shit. So
I was just playing some Fortnite, and I was live streaming, and the people are supposed to be in your friends. And I actually, like, I hate playing with younger kids. Like, I relate to what Ty said, where I think you kind of said you tolerate kids, you know, like you don't gravitate towards them, but you kind of tolerate them.
Well, I mean, I meant more like people might like in high school, because I was never really didn't really have many friends growing up.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
These people on Fortnite, these kids, okay, they must have been under 15. They literally were on my stream, like, they wanted to play, and I'm like, okay, you know, whatever. I'm going to be going and watching this podcast, so it's probably going to be the last game anyway for now. And literally at the end of the stream, like, they were roasting me, they were putting me down, and I was just like almost in tears. And I'm thinking, how did these people take me, who's a pretty headstrong, confident, outgoing, outspoken woman? How did they bring me to near tears? You know, so I think that when people think about suicide, I think sometimes people don't understand the society's impact and contribution to how a lot of people come to the point of actually considering it or following through with it. You know, I hate that when I hear about somebody who's commit suicide. There is a girl who lives, a high school girl who lives, you know, maybe within an hour from my house. Her name was Phoebe Prince. You can Google it. And she was bullied at school, and her sister found her hanging in her closet. I think it was South Hadley, Massachusetts. And I hate it because so many times I think to myself, do you know how much time I had on my hands? Do you know I could have been that person who could have talked to Phoebe and told her, listen, these people aren't going to matter. You know, I'm almost 40 years old, and I can tell people that what they feel in high school and how people treat them, like that's not how it's going to be forever. And so when I hear about somebody who's, you know, commit suicide or thinking about suicide because they feel lonely and don't have anybody to talk to, I relate. I understand, but I've reached out to resources in my community and they're not there. I've reached out to family I don't have. I've reached out to friends who swore they were going to be there for me and then never fucking were. You know, when the party ended, they didn't look back. When I got sick and needed surgery, they kept going and never looked back. I've reached out to society where my insurance doesn't cover getting appropriate mental health support. So when society fails you and friends fail you and family fails you, I think it's important that people don't overlook the importance of their online connections and friendships. A lot of people are like, well, that's not real, that's online, or that doesn't count because it's online. And I really think people need to step back and think, you know, sometimes it's as easy as just sending somebody a letter. Like if I honestly felt like I really were going to kill myself and I really felt like I needed to talk to somebody about it, I feel confident enough sending Ty or Chris, you know, probably Chris first, you know, email, an email just saying, Chris, I'm not in a good spot. You know, it's not like I want to talk to authorities or anything like that, but I need a friend. And I bet you that Chris or Ty would be there for me before anybody that I've had a beer with in my lifetime who lives within 5 miles of me.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I honestly think a lot of my best friends I actually don't know personally. Like a lot of people I'm really close to were people I met through the internet, honestly. And a lot of people say, well, you got to be aware that there's danger on the internet. And I'm like, well, it's really not as common as a lot of people make it out to be. And I honestly think it's not a good thing. People try to warn people about internet. I mean, yeah, you can run into someone who's bad on the internet, but I honestly kind of think you're probably more likely to get abducted by someone in the street than just find some pedophile online, honestly. So
It's hard to say.
it's a
I
bad
know
risk.
that when I was on a break with for my boyfriend, I had gone onto this online dating site. Like we weren't on a break. I was done at that point. And I went on an online dating site and I didn't tell anybody where I lived or anything. I talked to one guy and he's like, well, where do you live? And I told him not the town, but like the geographical, like Eastern Massachusetts, right? And all of a sudden, everything on my phone started popping up from like, oh, Google Maps, Connecticut. Oh, nearest places to eat, Connecticut. And this guy was from Connecticut and he was in the IT department. To this day, my computers will change from my location to a Connecticut location. Just to yesterday and today, I went to go look something up and it asked me if I wanted to look in Hartford, Connecticut, which I live nowhere near. So when I think of how harmless an online connection can be and can it harm your life? Yes, it can. Do you have to have good judgment and not be naive? Absolutely. Would I be willing to meet Ty, Chris, or Will in a dark alley at 3 a.m? Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
tried
because
dating online and it didn't work out for me.
I wouldn't meet you in an alley, Don. You scare the fuck out of me.
Well, I do conceal carry, so you wouldn't have to worry. But I tried dating online, as you know, it didn't work out for me. So I would say, hell no to mean people
I think I saw
online.
you
That's
had posted a Crime Watch daily
Actually,
today.
I might try to bring this up. I mean, the majority of the girls I've
Don,
dated have been.
Don,
The
hold on,
majority of the
Ty.
girls I've dated
Don,
have
I'm
been.
just
Ty.
teasing.
Yeah. What?
I'm just teasing Don. I don't want him to feel like all sad and shit inside. Like
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just teasing. It's
Yeah.
kind of like initiation into the Clo Rider Club.
Yeah, but I might
I
bring
don't know
up
what that is.
majority of the girls I've dated have been online, but I've dated one girl who was not online. Well, I think a couple, but the girl I've dated recently that was not online, I dated her for like a day, and then the day later she texted and said she wanted to break up, and I was like, oh, I'm just a pathetic person.
Did she kill
I can't be
herself?
the girlfriend ever. What?
Kill herself?
No, she didn't. She just called off and said she wanted to break up.
Oh, okay.
She's still alive to this day. I mean, I'm
Thank
friends
God.
with her. I don't really talk to her that much, but
I don't think you ever want to be the person who dated the person who committed suicide.
I think one of the
No
girls I
jokes
dated
aside,
online was
it's a
suicidal,
difficult
though.
position to be in. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a very
Yeah.
difficult position to be in, to be that person who's so close to somebody and then you lose them and then everybody, you know, kind of looks to you for
Yeah.
strength and you need strength.
the girl that I dated 2 years ago, William will probably remember her because we talked about her. She was suicidal, had schizophrenia, and bipolar. Man,
Don't put your
that
freaking crazy, man.
that was a handful. I'll tell you,
Wow.
that is not something that is to deal with or handle. And that was what, three? I was with her for 3, 4, 5 months. See, I don't even remember because it started to really run together. And yeah, it's not easy to deal with that situation, especially if it's someone that you really are really into. So I know about them people. So
Crazy in the head, crazy in bed, man.
not crazy in the head.
Dude,
I
that is so
actually
random.
All right.
no.
I'm not chewing my chips. I don't know what that sound is.
Don't.
Is someone have that? Like, does someone have it? Like, have a? I don't know what that sound is. As you
You're
can see,
being
I don't have
ghosted
any
by a
chips. I'm
fucking bag of
chewing.
Doritos.
No, I swear I'm not. It's right here.
Is it your
The
dog?
bag of Doritos is laying right there. I'm not doing anything to it. I don't know what that sound is. It's not me.
It is you.
I don't know if someone's playing a sample of me chewing Doritos, but it's not me. I don't know what's going on.
Dorito flavored Mountain Dew.
Will.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt that, Chris. You continue. I'm sorry.
No, Chloe was talking to Will.
Will.
Oh.
Did
Yep.
I hear that your mother passed away from suicide? Is that what I heard when I was trying to connect?
No, it was my first cousin who we've kind of been together since we were babies, and I practically considered her as my sister. So
Wow, very, very sorry to hear about that. That's very difficult. Very sorry to hear about that.
yeah, it was tough, but
What'd you learn from it?
I was there to help though. So
really,
Did you learn something like in the sense of, did you kind of start looking at life like, wow, wait a minute, You know, I mean, I guess did it make you kind of look at your relationships with everybody like with a little bit more value?
Well, I did like maybe probably within the following year, because throughout the remainder of that year I was just basically a broken man. Even at one point, I even contemplated suicide myself, trying to look for my mom's gun and all that, and trying to, end my life, because uh, like I said, that she was practically a sister to me. So losing her basically meant, everything to me. So that hurt me more than anything could. So
I'm very sorry. And I
That's
thank you all
tough.
for sharing, because I think this is a good podcast for Chris to have done, because I think a lot of people out there, you never know who you're going to be able to enable relation to. Somebody could be out there feeling like in the wrong place right now, and they might just find themselves at the right time watching this podcast, realizing that real people of all walks of life really do talk about this stuff, and there are people out there who will listen.
We can even help one person.
What was that?
Yeah.
We can even help one person. That's enough.
Right. I can tell you an experience that I actually had myself. If I actually think about it, I've had a couple attempts myself in my own life, but the worst one was when I was going through, the only one that really counted, like the only one that felt completely intentional, out of the three, were when I were getting a divorce from my ex-husband, who I had been with for 13 years and had a child with. I moved back in with my parents, and my dad took a bone away from my dog and gave it to his dog, and my dog got up to go, like, like, hey, what's up, bud, we can share that. And their dog was a fighting dog and tore my dog up, so my dog defended itself. My dad ended up, everybody freaked out, and my dad ended up saying, well, I'm going to bring it up to the vet and we're going to find it a new home. We can't have it here. And so the next day, my dad left with my dog. My mom locked me upstairs, left with my dog. 3 hours, he comes back, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I thought he would be back sooner. Like he must have stopped to like get a paper, run an errand, look at a car, do something. But I can't wait to get the address and name to where my Kea is going to be. And when it gets back, I run out the house, and I go and I open the garage or the car door to get the information so I can get in the house and call. And there's my dog dead in the car. He killed her. It fucked me up forever. There's a YouTube video about it on my channel. It fucked me up forever. So at that point, I actually was dating this guy who drove this Porsche, and I had his car for some reason, and I can't quite exactly remember why, but he was into this group called Blue October. And I remember taking his Porsche, and I drove it out into the woods like I used to do off-roading, 4x4ing, and I just took his Porsche out there because I took a gun that I had gotten, fully loaded, and brought it out in the middle of the woods with this guy's Porsche, and I was done. I was absolutely done. For everything I had gone through at that point, for everything that I had lost, this dog was like my daughter. It wasn't a dog, it was like my daughter. And I don't know how this kid found me, because he couldn't find his way out of a wet paper bag. But somehow this kid found me in my car. And then he's like, wait a minute, I'll tell you what. And the kid was fucked up, so what he's about to say was normal. But he said, I'll tell you what, I want you to listen to this song. And if you still want to kill yourself after, I will drive away and I will let you do whatever you feel you want to do. And so we put the top down on the Porsche, and he put this Blue October CD in, and he put Hate Me on. And all I could do was just like cry, like the kind of crying that is so it was like your soul is bleeding, kind of crying. And I listened to this song, and all of a sudden I related the lyrics to this dog that I had just had taken from me while going through a divorce, it losing everything. I listened to that song 38 times, and I drove out of that woods. And then I started to really take Blue October into my life, and they got me through everything. Everything. And I'm thankful because I met them while they were actually doing their Pick Up the Phone tour, which is a suicide prevention tour that they did in 2009. And the tour's whole concept was pick up the phone. If you feel suicidal, pick up the phone. And it's a foundation. It's called Pick Up the Phone. And they did this tour where for a whole year they were dedicating every tour, every chance to get any publicity out there to suicide prevention. And it was so ironic because these people saved my life from suicide.
Huh. Do you want me to put the link to your dog video in the description box once this is over?
That's up to you. I'm just here to share and make sure people know that there are people out there that are really hurting and feeling stuff, and that they've gone through real stuff that really hurts and really lasts.
It really does. Laugh and the world laughs with you. Cry and you cry alone. So
Yeah, if something like that happened to my dog, I just wouldn't know how to deal because I consider my dog my best friend,
Yeah,
and
it
I've
was
considered
raining
it
that
close.
day.
Yeah, wait, what?
It was raining that day that happened, and he dug a hole, and she was like a pit bull sized dog, and he buried a hole for like a chihuahua and stuffed her in it. And so in the rain, I had to go dig a fucking hole, and I was so sick medically in the rain. And I can remember listening to Rihanna's Umbrella in the fucking rain, trying to dig this hole big enough so she could at least fit. It sucked. And then I had another dog because everyone's like, you need to get a dog, you need to get a dog. So I got another dog, and they poisoned that dog and killed it. I've had a really fucked up life.
I'll tell you, it was never my friends. My friends never pushed me to suicide. Society never did. It's always been my family. Uh, both times, it has always been my family. And the weirdest thing is it's never changed. And I don't think it will ever change. But in the end, I hope that it will one day.
Me too for you.
And then one day I'll either escape it or it'll take me down with it. And
I hope that you would email me or call me or do something before it ever got to that. I mean, why are we all sitting here if we can't all make an agreement right now that we're close enough to talk about this stuff together? Why would we not make a network that if we ever felt like something like that one of us or all of us are some type of communication away?
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself to love your family, or would you not really say that?
I love certain people in my family. but as a whole, it's nothing but a den of lying, thieving, backstabbing, argumentative fucks
Well, one
who would rather slit your fucking throat than to hug you.
one thing I might bring up is growing up, I was never very close to my dad. I gotta say, I mean, I love my dad, but my dad, he can just get mad easily. He's never harmed me, obviously, or anything like that. It's never happened. But my dad just seems like he's always just kind of, I don't know, he kind of gets mad easily. And it seems like he's kind of really picky on things I do. Like I need to do something a certain way or something like that, I suppose. But, and I love my dad, and I always have, but I honestly feel like it's kind of sad. I honestly feel like I'm closer to my pets than I am my own dad, because for one, I rarely ever see him. And we get in arguments. We used to get in arguments all the time. Me and my dad used to be a big part of the stress I had in my life. And at times it kind of feels like he's just kind of more takes his job seriously than he does his own family. But
I'm really sorry, Ty. I know how hard that is because I want to be close to my daughter, and that will never happen. So I can understand from your point of view wanting to be close to your dad and not enabling that and not allowing that and not making time for that when you're there and willing. I think, excuse me, but what a fucking asshole to take you for granted. If I had a kid who wanted to spend time with me, and wow, your dad is so fucking lucky to have some kid who wants to spend time with him. So your dad's missing out, and he's a fucking loser.
well, I mean, I do love my dad. I mean, I do care about him. I mean, he does spend time with us, but I feel like he takes his job more seriously than he does our family. I'd probably say he's kind of selfish at times, but I still love him.
Priorities are mixed up.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Then allow me to go the opposite direction for you, Ty. I wish that I could see the end of mine. I have absolutely no love for the man. There's nothing but hate. I have nothing but hate for that piece of shit. I can't stand that motherfucker. I am completely in the different arena that you are. And let me just tell you, the hatred I feel for my father, and every time that I wish he would die, you would not believe as many times I've wished that he would fucking die. And I hate myself for it, for being a human being that wishes that someone would die. But it's something that I deal with because I know as much as I hate him and as much as I would like to see him perish, that I am a better man than he will ever be. And I never need to see him again in my life to have a fulfilling life. So, in the end, I think you were lucky that you were not burdened by hatred for your father. And I agree with Chloe that you are a good guy and your father should spend time with you. But on that same level, I'm the complete opposite, and I never want to see mine again. So,
I think another thing I might bring up is it's actually happened in 2017. There was actually one person. I'm not related to him, but he was my mom's cousin's. They had an adopted person, a kid, and my mom actually told me that this person, when I was little, he actually beat me up as a little kid. But later, actually, just happened recently. That guy, he just shot and killed my mom's cousin and my mom's cousin's husband, and then trashed the house in an attempt to make it seem like it was a burglary or something like that. You want to know why he killed them?
Money.
Because they said that he wouldn't be able to play video games for as late as he used to, so he killed them for that particular reason. And then he pleaded to the people and to the police that he was trying to plead that he said that that he was that he didn't do it, that a person robbed the house, and he claimed he was mentally ill and that he wasn't aware of his actions or something like that. When they later found a text to one of his friends that said, "Hey, I'm going to go kill my parents and I'm going to go kill myself," in which he didn't make it to kill himself. So hopefully I believe he's in prison right now. Hopefully he rots in jail, and I really would love to see him die personally. So that's just how I feel. But
I 100% agree. Is Don still with us?
what?
Yeah.
Don
No.
still with us because my screen keeps popping up to his name.
I hear you. Couldn't join call. What the fuck?
I can't see you. I just see you're dressed in blue and you have these white rings coming off you. What was that?
What?
What was that? Ty's jetting. Did you fart?
No, my dog's having a nightmare.
Okay.
No, I didn't fart. I swear to God, I did not. I just got up from my chair. Hold on, my dog's having a nightmare.
Now he's gonna prove it. You gotta go wake the dog
Like
up.
my dog, every once in a while, will just basically just go like when he's not just. I guess he has a nightmare, and I have to wake him up when he does that.
I guess that's a good way to
Hey,
break up
come
this
back.
silence and sadness for a bit.
I know you didn't fart, Ty. I totally could tell that.
Okay. All right.
I don't want you thinking, oh my God, she doesn't. Really
His farts sound like a dog.
Poor Ty.
So now, never mind. I'm not going to bring up the Dorito sound because I'm still hearing it, and I even muted my mic and I still hear it. I don't know what's going on.
I was just wondering if each of our farts sounded like a breed of dog. What breed of dog would it be? So I'm glad you're hearing Doritos because I needed a distraction. My brain was
I'm pretty sure mine would be Basset Hound.
Basset Hound.
Mine would be Shih Tzu.
Shih Tzu.
All right.
I like Great Danes, but I hope my farts aren't that big.
So, who here has actually heard a Great Dane fart? Because I've never owned one, but I imagine that. Wait, you do?
I owned two. It's like a horse farting.
Oh gosh.
Damn.
It's noticeable, and it's not like, oh, what was that? You know what it is.
Yeah, my dogs are silent. Honestly, I mean, yeah.
My dog, I was streaming earlier, and he farted, drove me right out the studio. Had to take off the headset and walk away for a few minutes, get the lights fall.
Oh wow.
My cats fart too.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah, I actually used to have we had to watch over these kittens, and I think they had some kind of like I don't know, some kind of stomach infection. So when they farted, it was like it was like really, really bad. Like it smelled awful, and they were like kittens, and they had some kind of stomach infection or something like that. And when they farted, it was just awful. It just smelled so bad, and you wouldn't expect that just to come from these little kittens, but it's not good.
My dog has this weird thing where he'll be sleeping.
God.
How did we get talking about this? But go ahead.
Weird thing where it's sleeping.
Suicidal from this conversation.
Where it's sleeping, and then it will fart, but it scares itself awake. So it jumps up and then shoves its own nose in its ass, like to see what it was, and then starts licking its ass.
Like a doorbell.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's funny as fuck because it'll, and then the motherfucker will jump up and be like, "What the fuck was that?"
Sounded like Buzz Lightyear.
That really sounded like a robot or something.
That's the noise.
That's
Sounds like a
pretty
fucking.
electronic. That's kind of synthetic. Like that's a synthesized part.
Yeah.
Oh my! Just what it sounds like.
I
So
might sample it as a
No
mixtape and rap
808
over it.
bass there.
fucking poof, poof.
It shouldn't it be more like
No, it's much louder than that.
Yeah.
Hey,
No, I personally witnessed it. It's funny.
I'm gonna be making a ASMR Fortnite video this weekend. Can you imagine that?
Is it
Hey,
going to
look
be a
at-
joke one?
Yes, I'm gonna. I had two choices: go serious or go comical, and I'm gonna go comical.
Hey,
You know,
look
actually, what's interesting, I actually do kind of like a few ASMR channels, honestly.
Cool.
I mean, there's just one called Ephemeral Rift that I like just because he's like super creative and imaginative with his videos, honestly.
That's cool.
Hey.
That's cool.
Hey,
Yeah.
William, look at that shit. You made a joke about it. I did it for real, and now everyone in the group's doing it. So,
I'm stealing your content.
Oh
Don't you
god,
know?
the chain reaction.
Don't you know, Chris? I'm stealing your content. I don't have anything original. I got nothing left.
no, I got nothing left because I have 1,500 videos to my name, and it's hard for me to fucking do something nowadays.
Yeah, sometimes I got so many videos. I got like 140. I get lazy about even naming and tagging them anymore. In the beginning, I'm like, everything I's are dotted, T's are crossed. Now I'm like, fuck it. Someone wants to watch it.
Yeah.
Honestly, like ones that are like food eating are freaking disgusting to me. I hate those. Like where it's on camera eating. Those ones
Hey,
are freaking nasty.
you mean you don't like the?
No, I hate those. There's honestly, I kind of like the ones where it's like tapping or like like scratching on something. For some reason, those are relaxing to me. But like on camera eating, it's just gross. It's freaking nasty. I don't know how anyone can find someone eating in your ear to be relaxing, but
It all triggers my anxiety. To be honest with you,
yeah, it's just
I don't know.
makes me want to vomit. Honestly,
It makes me
Gross,
pissed
but-
off.
I hope the Fortnite video comes out good though, because I think if you turn off the sound of the game, like all the game sounds, and you just have the video game in front of you, and then you just whisper the ASMR stuff, I think that it's going to be either a train wreck or very funny.
Oh, speaking of, I'm actually glad that you brought up Fortnite. I noticed that your streams are actually starting to look better. Like your computer isn't stuttering as much now.
I've been busting my ass for like 7-8 hours, 3 times a day, working on fine tuning that. So thank you. I made a huge change a couple days ago, and I'm still getting glitched sometimes, but the graphics are like, wow, you can see shit.
Yeah, what happened to your stream this morning? Like it like got suspended, didn't it?
It did. You saw that? It was weird because
Yeah.
all I was doing was reacting to other videos that are on YouTube.
I know, and I was like, did you see my comment afterwards?
No, they won't let me in.
No, I just commented classic YouTube basically.
Yeah, I was really shocked though. Like it wasn't even up 3 hours. It had 86 views when it last got shut down, and then it was like copyright, but all the videos are on YouTube, so I don't get it.
Yeah, it's just fucking retarded.
YouTube
Like,
is not the place anymore. It's really unfortunate, but I wish somebody would start something that were for only small content creators. If you have over this amount of people and this many subs, you're not welcome here.
yeah, I feel like if something's offensive, if you find something offensive, but it's not meant to be offensive, it's just meant for entertainment purposes, and it's not harming anyone. You shouldn't fucking care, honestly. It's just fucking retarded. I don't know what. I mean, YouTube's trying to make themselves look like some kind of good guy community, but honestly, people are just looking to them as just fucking like assholes. Basically, just piece of shit. Honestly, fuck YouTube.
I agree.
I mean, they
I'm
screwed
not happy
Logan
with
Paul
YouTube.
over. It's just so nice.
I told Will the other day because I was making. Well, God, it was a couple weeks ago now. Actually, I was making my 5 breakup songs video, and I actually had it made and uploaded. And one of the songs was "Love the Way You Lie" by Eminem and Rihanna, and that was the first fucking one I did for it. And I uploaded it, and as soon as I uploaded it, it said this video has been shut down worldwide.
Yep, that's what's on mine. Yep.
And I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean? So I went into the, because you can go and look at the details. YouTube will tell you what the fuck the problem is. And it said, one of these songs cannot be reviewed, cannot be viewed for whatever. And I was like, well, first of all 5 of these songs are in their entirety on YouTube already.
Exactly.
So that's where I get my music from. I don't get it from the fucking iTunes store. I don't fucking, get it offline. I don't pirate the shit.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, what the fuck could it be? So I had to go tear apart the video, figure out individually which song it was, and it turned out to be the fucking Eminem Rihanna one. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
And it takes
So,
hours to put a video together.
Don't you think it's kind of stupid that people can upload like them playing a game in its entirety, but they can't have a sample of a song in their video?
Right.
Don't you think that's kind of stupid?
Yeah.
Because the artist should know they're getting exposure anyway with every video that has their song in it, and every watch that video gets, they're getting exposure for free.
Here's the thing. I completely agree with that, because if it wasn't for my Twitter, which, by the way, guys, if you're not on my Twitter, the Darkman430 at Twitter, and now Instagram, because I joined Instagram. But I was on Twitter the other day, and I found a song on there because someone had posted it with one of their videos, and I was like, oh, that's a cool-ass song. So I went in and added it to my Spotify, and see that, because of that video, I now know that song, and Spotify is getting revenue. So they can suck my dick.
Spotify,
so there you go.
See, here's the thing I'm telling everybody. Twitch is like better than YouTube. You can make more money. You can play music. You can play your Spotify soundtrack while you're doing your own stuff over on Twitch. And if you are a YouTuber, all you have to do is stream under the IRL in real life category. And then that turns Twitch from gaming into stuff like this that you would see on YouTube. And the revenue is better there. The ad stuff is better there. You make more. There's more referral bonuses. It's just a better place, but it's harder to get to. It's a little bit slower to build. Like, I only have 13 followers over there, but you got to start somewhere. And for only doing this for a month on Twitch, I'm already seeing revenue.
Well, and it doesn't help that fucking YouTube shut out the monetization shit.
Yeah, in February, that's when I went to Twitch, just because exactly what you said.
Yeah, no, because here's the thing. I've had my videos monetized since 2013. I had them all monetized since I began the channel. My exceptions for monetization back when I could get it was response videos, because I do not own the video that's in my video. So I never monetize those. I never monetize the podcast, because I believe if other people are in it, then I don't want to make money from it unless you all agree that I should. So I never monetize.
Reaction videos, if the person that you're reacting to isn't monetized and you can get revenue from that video, because Kenzie, my video that's got like 13,000 views, I was getting revenue from, because she hadn't partnered up. She hadn't claimed the revenue.
Well, yeah. Well, also, another thing that you mentioned like that, though, is if your video is monetized, like, let's say one of my Joseph8276 ones, because they were more popular than the rest. Let's say I monetized one of those, and let's say that he was still on YouTube and wasn't a fucking prisoner for child molestation. He could actually fucking come in and take the cash that I was earning off that video because he's actually in the video, even if it's sound alone. So,
Yep.
and that's why I don't monetize the music videos I make. I don't monetize the podcast, the live streams, or the fucking response videos. Everything else was because I find that that's my original content.
Yep.
Me trying a food product, that's my opinion. That's my original content. Me reviewing a movie, same fucking thing.
Yep.
Shit like that. So,
Yep. I definitely will say that when people are making money out there who are like big people, and then people are saying that, oh well, now you can't be monetized. They're forgetting that everybody had to start from being nothing to get up to that point that they're putting a label on. So as soon as Facebook said, okay, come the new year, we're going to be taking away monetization, I went right over to my YouTube and I said, you know what? Fuck this. And I unmonetized all of my videos immediately. It took me like an hour and a half to unmonetize, un-AdSense, unaffiliate my videos. But I didn't want YouTube to make any money off me. That's why I don't worry about the content I put on YouTube anymore, because YouTube's a fucked up, trashy fucking place. They are stepping on the backs of little creators to keep themselves out of the water while we're underneath here drowning, when we're supposed to be we're the people who are going to keep YouTube fresh. All the big people out there, Leafy, PewDiePie, all of those people, their
Logan
content
Paul.
is expected, okay? It's us small people who are going to give YouTube that constant, fresh content. And that's fucked up that they've marked us out. We can't make money here. I don't want them making money off me.
no, I completely agree. When and I made a video about it. When I received the email, they gave me the fucking email that morning when I woke up, because it all came out in the morning when motherfuckers were asleep, and I was like, oh shit! I woke up and it was like, YouTube has emailed you. Oh fuck! What do they want now?
I was excited in the email, to be honest with you. I was thinking, oh my god, this is going to be awesome. No.
Yeah, because you're thinking, oh man, maybe they want a partnership.
Yep, that's
maybe.
Exactly what I thought.
Yep. So I was like, all right, let me
That's the
check.
way they worded it, Chris. Do you agree that the way it was sent to you made it look like something, like you were going to be offered something? It was not like a letter of terms of service update. It looked more like, by the way, because you're doing so good on YouTube, but you're not doing quite what we need for you to be monetized anymore.
Oh yeah.
So it looked like it was going to be an offer, and then all of a sudden, halfway through, they're like, "But it's not good enough."
Yep. The funniest shit though is I had already hit 230 subscribers, and I got that email, and I seen it, and I was like, and when it said, in order to continue making revenue from your videos, you have to have over 1,000 fucking subscribers. And everyone that I knew, a lot of the higher ones that aren't on this podcast, they were scurrying to hit 1,000. And I was like, well, there's no fucking way. There is no fucking way I can hit 1,000 within a week or two. Because unless one of my videos goes so fucking viral doesn't happen very often. Like, me and William has watched all kinds of retarded viral bullshit, and let me tell you, I wasn't going to be the next Chewbacca mom. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
so,
Chris, do you realize that it wasn't even that you had to have 1,000 subscribers? It was that you had to have 1,000 subscribers, you had to have 100,000 views, and you had to have 4,000 hours, not minutes, hours of watch time from anybody out there watching your stuff. There were those three things. So even if you got your 1,000 subscribers, if you didn't have the 100,000 views and you didn't have the 4,000 hours of watch time, it didn't matter. No monetization.
Well, okay, I had the views because I had the views. I have over 117,000 views. I think I checked it today. And the hours, the watch time, I'm pretty sure I wasn't close, because here's the thing, Chloe. That was in 1 month. That wasn't your entire career. That was 1 month. And I don't even upload 4,000 hours worth of content in a month.
Yeah.
Because
that's a good point right there. The small creators, most of us don't even have 4,000 hours of content.
no. I mean, at this point,
we got off topic. I feel like we're on a different podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to make a YouTube podcast eventually.
I did like that video though. I thought your message hit harder when you gave Will the camera and had him read that message that you wrote. That made your message louder and clearer and more resonated than if you had sat there and read it. Because it was your channel and everybody's going to expect you, and all of a sudden Will's there with this very intense impact statement because it was heartfelt, which is why it was intense. So I thought you delivered that perfectly.
You know, actually, one thing I might bring up is, do you think a lot of people who may seem like really, really happy and like upbeat and cheerful and all this stuff, like, do you think there might be a chance that some people like that may have a better chance of being suicidal because they may want to just be like super happy around other people. They don't want people to know what they're really dealing with.
Absolutely. I feel like that is 1,000% a possibility. And I think that's probably how it is, honestly, for most people who are dealing with suicide as an issue, because for one, they don't know how to deal with it. Two, they don't want to be marked crazy or forced into any kind of institution. A lot of times these people just need someone to really stop and talk and listen to them. If it takes an hour or 3 hours or an hour or 2 hours today, and then a good meal and some sleep, a couple more hours the next day or whatever. I think that those people who walk around who are like, you know what? I feel like I am always walking around, hiding the tears of a clown, acting happy all the time, but behind the mask and the face paint, you're sad. I think that's common. I myself, Ty, can tell you, I have to go out into society, and I live in a very small place. I see people I don't want to see, my adopted parents, my daughter, ex-husband. I run into these people, and all I can do is just smile, because I have to kind of do exactly what you just said. I have to kind of hide how I feel. So I think that if people do that, and a lot of people do, then there have to be a lot of people out there who actually walk around happy. That's what we think. But society, friends, or family haven't really stopped close enough to put the person in focus instead of a blur, and put them in focus and say, wait a minute, is that really, how Chloe's feeling? Like, is Chloe really happy all the time about this stuff? I think that the people who are acting happy are probably the people who sincerely don't know how to be happy. Because if you have to act happy, then you're trying to put yourself in a position that you are not really experiencing, because actors aren't really experiencing their lines and their script. They're acting it.
This is kind of interesting. I'm looking at a map right now of like gender ratio or age difference compared to suicide. And from what it looks like, it seems that a lot of places where suicide is a bigger problem, the average age is like near like 30 or 35 or something like that. And the places that are lower, it's like teenagers. Wonder why that would be.
Puberty and midlife crisis,
I suppose.
I mean, I'm not joking. Like, those are two things that happen around those ages. High school is brutal.
Yeah.
Another thing is, a lot of places that seem to have a really high suicide rate are places that are colder, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, the cold can get you. I mean, it doesn't fuck up my mental health, but I could stay in where I live. It was 55 degrees 2 days ago, and we just had 2 inches of snow on the ground today. If the weather's going to break down your mental health, then you can't live where I live.
No, actually, I've already brought this up. Did you already hear what country I said had the highest suicide rate, Chloe?
I'm guessing I didn't, but is it, I feel like it's going to be England or like Brazil.
No, it's Greenland.
Really?
Yeah, Greenland. Actually, you know what's all right? I've already said this, but this is what's sad about this is Greenland is one of the least populated countries in the world, and they say that like one person kills himself there like a week, and I think it said at least 25% of the population has at least attempted suicide at least once in their life. And they even have like billboards and all this stuff there telling people it's not a good idea, it's you or something like that. And they actually said that the majority of the suicides there occur in the summer, so they think a big part of it is like, I don't know what the word is, like because Greenland's really cold, but they said most of the suicides occur there during the summer, it seems. Otherwise, it'd be like Guyana and Sri Lanka, stuff like that. But yeah. Sad, though.
So, when did Don leave? Because
I don't know.
He left like I guess a couple of minutes ago.
I think he's left a couple times. I don't know if he's going to come back again or.
I don't know, because he's one slippery bastard. Because either I wasn't paying attention, or like
we could have said bye.
Yeah, I know. See, that's what I'm saying, man. It could have been like, okay.
Out there.
Yeah, no, I saw the exact moment that he
happening?
left.
He's probably fucking sneaking up behind you and shit creeping up in your house while we're all distracted.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn.
Yeah, he's right behind you now, Chris.
All right, so let me read this. So,
we got statistics. Let's go.
All right, Greenland has by far the highest suicide rate in the world. Reports between 1985 and 2012 show that the average of 83 people in 100,000 committed suicide, more than twice the rate of the second-place country, Lithuania.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I just totally got distracted by the cat. Like,
Yeah, hey.
Oh,
I mean,
cat.
Is the cat there?
oh, it's behind you.
yeah.
Oh, holy shit! There is a cat.
Oh, she's coming in. She's trying to attack my grinder. Doesn't even have meat on it. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Oh yeah, all right. So
you got a map and shit.
Yeah, Greenland is geographically and culturally isolated nation, as well as one of the coldest and least populated countries in the world. Although facts like these may contribute to suicide-related issues, it is not clear if they have direct influences on Greenlandic suicides. Furthermore, different initiatives have been taken to reduce the suicide rate in the country, such as roadside posters and a national suicide prevention strategy involving courses, education, local communities, and professionals such as teachers, social workers, and doctors have been initiated. And it says the 46% of suicides in Greenland are from hanging, 37% shooting, 2% jumping from heights, 1% cutting with sharp objects. Yeah, it says I think it said 95% of suicides in Greenland are through violence. I think it said. But
I'm just a piece of fucking thirsty. Yes! That's everything. What is it?
Make yourself at home, cat.
I thought that was a dog. Nope.
Oh, it's a kitty.
Biting you, he's tenderizing you for the kill. Trying to slit your wrist there. What the fuck? Why are you letting that cat do that?
no, he's licking
Let
my
that
hand.
cat bite you. Seriously, my cat will puncture my wrist. Why is it licking you so much?
This cat loves me.
It's making some funny eye contact with you.
All right. All right.
Your cat's a little derpy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he has cross eyes. Actually, this cat originally was going to belong to my cousins, but my cousins said, "Oh, I don't like him," and so they gave him to me. This cat's actually older. I think that cat's like about 13. He's older than my brother, my youngest brother, and my youngest sister. Wait, he's He's over there.
Oh, he's definitely not wanting to be on camera.
I suppose so. He's not the only. I own 2 other cats though. He's just always in my room. But he's always. I've always been his favorite. I'm my dog's favorite as well. But my cat and my dog do not get along, unfortunately, as you would expect.
Oh, the bag is not as obnoxious as that damn chip bag was. Because
What
holy
the
shit.
fuck?
What the heck? What is that?
I don't know what
God,
just.
is that poop?
What?
Is that poop? I'm trying to eat your cat.
The,
Was just
fu-
there.
the fuck is
I don't
going
know.
on?
I don't know what just happened, but I don't know where. Oh,
What is going on? You need to talk to us. What is this? Olives?
what?
Is that a black olive?
No, it's this thing on my headphone just fell off. I don't know how, but
Is the other piece in your ear?
no,
There's
this is the piece.
No, there's a third.
This is the piece.
Okay.
Yeah. It fell out somehow. I don't know how, but there we
Too
go.
much jostling with the cat.
My cat died a week ago.
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
I'm
her
so
name was
sorry.
her name was Lefty. She only had one eye. And
Was a war vet.
yep, she was a Vietnam War vet. Everyone's like, what the fuck are you babbling about?
I thought she was a pirate.
No. She was a war vet.
I saw that time.
Ty,
Yeah.
who's that behind you? No, other side. Yeah, by your window.
Oh shit.
What?
I was just kidding. Wait, what?
What did you do?
Wow. For the fact that Chris, you actually got the shit scared out of you because of that. The fuck?
What the fuck? I don't even know what I just saw.
Oh, you just said, oh, there's someone over by my window, and I pretend like I was scared and saw someone.
No, who got knocking? Did someone just hear knocking?
Oh, no. See that box over there?
Yeah. Did
Yeah, my
cat
cat likes to claw at it. That's
Oh.
basically what the sound was.
Okay, if you say so. It sounded like someone knocking on your window.
No.
So I don't know if y'all realize this, but the suicide discussion kind of turned into like cats and shit.
All right, you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been way off topic for a while.
You guys, let's get sad again.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Get sad
Back
again.
to being soy boys and soy girl.
Sweet boy.
Wait, let me turn the mic down. I didn't mean to give you that.
Okay. Not sure what exactly. I don't know. I don't know what else. Wait, I think actually I might bring up one thing. There was one guy when I first came to school here in Georgia when I moved.
What was that?
The fuck?
Hey, no, check it out. Okay.
Somebody strangled a duck.
Well, I'm sorry. I got really excited because it doesn't happen often. Y'all know that Gator Poon video I put up?
Yes.
Gator Poon commented on it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh boy.
Well, Gator the Legend, which is the new Gator Poon. He said, "You're welcome."
All right.
I thought this was gonna be like a long. Dude.
That's what I thought.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, I might bring up one
After
thing.
we get scolded for not being fucking sad enough and shit, you're like, hey, let's celebrate. Make up your mind. I feel like I'm on a bipolar roller coaster.
Well, welcome to the podcast.
All right, let's talk death.
All right, death.
All right. So I might bring up this.
You got stats.
No, actually, there. Wait, what?
We got
Oh.
stats. Come on. What are
All
you
right.
playing with? Is that a cat string?
It's my headphones. Yeah.
Oh, and a necklace. I see. Headphones and a necklace.
Yeah, it's a Radiohead logo.
Oh, it looks like Mickey Mouse on acid.
It's a bear, I believe. But wait, do you want me to continue with the statistics or the?
Yeah, whatever, you know.
All right. Let's
I'm
see. Okay, let me see here. The number of suicide in Greenland began to rise in the 1970s. It kept increasing until 1986. In 1986, suicide was the leading cause of death in several towns, such as Sarrenfegut. In the 1970s, the rate of suicide in Greenland was historically very low, but by 1990 to 1994, it had become one of the highest in the world, with 107 per 100,000 persons committing suicide per year. A similar relatively fast rise to a very high suicide rate has been observed among the Inuit in Canada, which, and if you know what Inuit in Canada is, it's basically, you know, the northern part, you know, there's like these big islands over by Canada.
I'll Google it.
Yeah, those basically, if you look at Canada, there's like the northern part, there's these big islands. Those places have big suicide rates too, apparently. Greenland government data reported in 2010 suggests that almost one suicide occurred a week. An article published in journal BMC Psychiatry in 2009 reports that a total of 1,351 suicides took place in Greenland during the study period of 35 years, 1968 to 2002. And keep in mind, Greenland has one of the lowest populations in the world, and they had, in 35 years, they had over 1,000 people kill themselves. Let me see. Greenland's population is only 56,000. So
I can't stop thinking about how happy I am that Chris got that response from Gator Boone. Like, I think that's awesome. As a YouTuber, that's just awesome.
Greatest response ever.
Like, not to be like rude, Ty. I'm just distracted. I was just thinking that's awesome. Those are exciting little benchmarks as a YouTuber.
No, it truly is, because I've got one from Joseph 8276. I got one from Don Roberts. I got one from the Bob and Bill fucking singing duo. I got one for all my singing videos. I'm just badass that way. So,
Awesome.
all right. And the study's significant seasonal variation of the suicide rate was noted, characterized by peaks in June and troughs in the winter. The clustering of suicides in summer months was more pronounced in areas north of the Arctic Circle. Regional variations are also observed. Suicide rates in northern parts of West Greenland are higher than in southern parts. Suicide rates are higher for men than women. Most of the people dying by suicide are young men between the age of 15 to 24. Unlike in other Western countries, the suicide rate in Greenland decreases with age. Several reasons are blamed for Greenland's high suicide rate, including alcoholism, depression, poverty, conflict-ridden relationship with spouse, dysfunctional parental homes, etc. According to a report published in 2009, the suicide rate in Greenland increases during the summer. Researchers have blamed insomnia caused by incessant daylight. Culture clash between the traditional Inuit culture and modern Western culture is also assumed to be a contributing factor. Violent methods were used in 95% of suicide deaths. The most common methods were hanging, 46%, shooting 37%. Other methods such as jumping from heights, cutting with sharp objects, drowning, overdose of medication, and poisoning were also used, but less frequently. Greenland's government and international and national organizations have undertaken efforts and initiatives to prevent suicides. There are associates that provide support for people who feel suicidal. Measures include posters placed along the roads which read, "The call is free, no one is alone, don't be alone through dark thoughts, call." Suicide consulants show films discouraging teenage suicide attempts. The first national suicide prevention strategy was initiated in 2005, followed by another in 2013 that involves courses, education, local communities, and professionals such as teachers, social workers, and doctors. It has also highlighted a number of places where further studies are needed. All right, and that's the end of the article. So, all right, I might bring another thing about my personal life.
go ahead.
So, as I said, I've never dealt with suicide in my life. I never once thought of doing myself in, but I would say I kind of have dealt with depression though. Now, one thing I actually might bring up is when I first moved from Iowa to Georgia, I was kind of depressed that I was moving away from my family, my friends, and all this stuff. But one thing I might bring up is there's this one guy who I think his name was Kyle. I believe he claimed, I think he was basically I think he was from Canada, and he would always talk stuff about how America is such a bad country and all this stuff, but he was very mean to me. And now, one thing looking back at it is I wasn't very culturally educated as I used to be, but a lot of the stuff he brought up was just complete and utter bullshit. Because for one, he said that Family Guy came from Japan. He said nothing ever originated from the United States. And
That guy on crack.
And he said that Canada has a higher economy than the U.S.
Can I just point out how fucking random this all is? Like
that too, yeah.
Well, I mean, well, the thing is, he's a dumbass, but I just want to bring up because he was just very mean to me. I'm not exactly sure why, but he would call me retarded and all this stuff because he knew I had autism, and he would say, "Well, technically, you are retarded because you have autism," and I'm like, "It's not how it works, dude." I mean, I can call you retarded because you're fucking stupid, and it would just make just as much sense. But that's just me. But I don't know.
Okay, well, that was, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we got 10 minutes left, so if there's any more stories or personal stuff that people want to talk about, now would be the time to say it. So,
all right.
Which I actually, before anyone does that, if they are going to do that, I would like to bring up a point. Chloe said earlier about between us, like a pact. What was it you said? If you remember what you said,
that I would hope that we've all sat on enough Friday nights together, and that we all have enough respect for each other and care about each other enough as colleagues and friends that we would be able to network somehow, that maybe we should all exchange email addresses or contact information. So God forbid should feel, a moment of, complete loss of will, or even just like no one's listening. There's a way to get a hold of us besides, one, airing everything out here to the world, and two, just to make a network to show people here that are watching the stream or may come across this video that it doesn't have to be this, intricate system where the only way that you can get help that matters is by going somewhere in person, that you can actually pick up the phone or send an email or send somebody a message and they can respond and be a person who will be there to listen, just like that person would be there to listen if you needed them. I think that people need to understand, and if they can learn one thing from my contribution to this video, it would be to really look at your online connections and maybe pick two people who, one, that you talk to every week online, at least once a week. And the second thing would be hopefully a person, or even the same person, that you think about when you're not online. So if you think about somebody when you're not online that you trust, or you say, you know what, if they had a hard time, I would be there for them. Get a hold of them and find out, hey, life is tough and stuff, and you never know what you're going to be dealt with. Maybe we should just give each other's information out so we have like each other's email address, so that if something ever happened, you could drop me an email and know that there's somebody out there that will listen. So don't ever say there's nobody out there that will listen. Get the fuck off my grinder! You fucking cheating bitch! You're eating my fucking food?
wow,
Fucker!
holy shit!
Rest in peace.
That was unexpected. Oh my God.
She ate my fucking grinder and you let her.
How did you not
You're
see
sitting
her?
right there.
You are sitting right there.
What the fuck?
Oh my God.
I'm fucking hungry.
Well, you should eat it.
I should have ate it.
What the fuck you want?
The fuck, she ate this.
Wait, what did the cat eat?
My fucking grinder. I live a little bit
Okay.
Wow.
The somber tone and the speech, the speech, the great speech that you provided for us, followed by that, was just the most amazing shit I've heard, like, in
I
a
don't
long
find that
time.
shit funny. She ate my fucking grinder. Okay, my
Wait,
cat
what is grinder?
who licks her ass.
It's
and
it's like
gets
a
in, you don't know what a
sandwich of
grinder
sort.
is? What planet were you born? It's a piece of bread with vegetables and mayonnaise.
All right.
Like what would you call that? Like a bread rocket?
Suppose.
Ah!
Honestly, I'd be pissed too if my cat ate my sandwich or
She
grinder.
goes in the shit box. She fucking throws up. She goes in the fucking shower.
They don't need to hear that.
Well, now they know why I'm so fucking upset. Okay.
So, what are you clicking over there, Ty?
Oh, I was gonna make a list.
Of what?
I was gonna on my Rate Your Music account. I was gonna make a list, top 10 albums that are depressive.
Don't do that, buddy. You need to change your frame of mind.
All right. I was just gonna make it. I thought Chris could link it at the end of the video.
Well, you can
Yeah.
make it, but be careful. You need to change your frame of mind. You're like making me sad, and you need to just do something that kind of lifts you up and makes you happy.
Don't worry. Be happy
Be
now.
happy.
Don't worry.
Be happy. There you go.
Suppose I could cut that part off.
You know what you do when you're down in the dumps, Ty?
Yes.
You go listen to some CCR. Just telling you, man, that's some good shit.
What's CCR?
What?
Wait, what's CCR?
The band from the 70s?
Let me see.
You know, Fortunate Son.
Oh, Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Yeah, that.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, they have an album I like. Let me see. Oh, Cosmos Factory. Yeah, that's a good album by them.
There you go.
I do own I own a compilation album by them, but that's just because my grandpa gave it to me because it was an old record collection.
I had a record collection, but I got rid of it.
Uh,
Didn't have the room for it.
I love my records. They're like my prized possession is $100 one I got. That happens to be my favorite album.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a record collection of sorts.
Cool, I support it. They're expensive, but they're cool.
Yeah.
Some of them even come with booklets and stuff like that.
I get mine from Goodwill.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, well, we got 2 minutes left, so we should be wrapping this up.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. I think after I'm done with this list, I might send you it. You can just link it at the end of the video, I suppose.
All right. I will either do that tomorrow or soon,
Right.
because it's fucking late and I just not feeling it. Not gonna lie. So cool. So real quick, as Chloe was saying before about the whole trading emails and shit. Obviously, everyone here has my email and knows me at a personal level. Has tons of way to get into contact with me. Between you guys, y'all can do, sort that out. I know Chloe and Ty has, already emailed each other, so that's all good and shit like that.
Yeah,
So
pass my email on to Will.
All right. Well, after this, me and him will probably talk some more because we always usually do anyway. So I'll go ahead and do all that. And all right, well, it is time to close it out. So as usual, I'm Chris.
I'm Wayne Drill Deal.
I'm Ty.
And I'm Chloe.
All right, guys. Peace the fuck out.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.